Now we have a fireside chat on the role of conversations in brand building. I would like to invite Baisakhi Datta, Principal Digital Content Producer, The Economic Times, to moderate this conversation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I sincerely hope all of you are in the best of your health. A very warm welcome to today's fireside session, which will be a discussion on the topic role of conversations in brand building. But before we get started, I will take a couple of minutes to set the context and introduce our speakers. Since the dawn of social media, brands have been trying to engage and interact with their prospects, leads, and customers in a much more human way. Companies want to engage and interact by understanding and personalizing their consumers' online experience. Brands that want to stay ahead of the curve need to engage with their audience not just as buyers, but as people, which in turn help them achieve their goals. This may be answering a question or finding a business partner or even something else. Today, we'll learn from the experts how to crack the code of social media conversation for brands. And for that, we have with us two highly experienced and demonstrated minds from the branding world. They shall engage in a gripping conversation that will lead to precise insights on how brands can optimize and leverage social media conversations to stay ahead of the curve. We have with us Mr. Krishna Iyer, Head Channel Sales, Twitter India, and Mr. Gopa Menon, Chief Digital Officer, Mindshare. I sincerely welcome both the gentlemen to today's fireside sessions.
Thank you, Baisakhi. Good to be here.
Thank you, Basak.
So without any further delay, let's jump into today's discussion. So to start off, my first question goes out to Krishna, to you. So brand and human connections has always been pivotal to building brand reputations and recall. And social media is, of course, the most effective place for brands to find audiences. So once they do so, how should brands craft their conversations on social media? And also, how do you think they can help forge a human level connect for brands? What's your take on that?
Sure. Thank you, Baisakhi. Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, Gopa. Good to see you. And it's lovely to be here. Yeah. So I strongly believe social media is a great leveler. It evolved the otherwise one-sided passage of information to becoming a conversation, almost replicating how we as humans communicate with each other. So while this is the possibility, brands should ideally ensure their conversation on a social platform is one that is not only in sync with what the platform stands for, but also who their consumers are. It can only be human if it's real and not a one-size-fits-all kind of approach. Social media, if you really think about it, is extremely fluid, and it's a flexible medium, right? It can allow brands of any size, any industry, to establish and express themselves. So in a way that's real, that's direct, and that's deliberate. So the commonality on social is that on one hand you will always have the audience, and on the other hand you have the brand. But each platform can either build or move ahead what the brand wants to through conversations. So if I give you an example, over 60% of Twitter India's users think it's a lot more important for brands to behave in a more sustainable way after the pandemic. Thus, brands need to take cues from each platform, amalgamate it at a central level for them, and then disperse it back as to what each platform deliver for them. I would love to sort of extend this a little more and bring in the angle of cultural relevance, right? Because I think we can't look at things in silos anymore. And let me address that with two statistics, right? According to a research that Twitter did, there is a 73% correlation between a brand's cultural relevance, and its revenue. So consumers buy brands that are culturally relevant. And the second stat is that almost 90% correlation between brands that are active and spending on Twitter and their relevance sort of a thing, right? So if you look at these two stats at a slightly larger level, right? If you step back, the kind of world we are in, which is hyper connected, I don't think it's ever been as important as now for a brand to show up and how it behaves. Because consumers are now buying into what a brand stands for and not just what they're selling.
That makes a lot of sense. So taking cue from these lines that you've shared right now, my next question would be for Mr. Gopal. According to you, how can brands shape these conversations to build a consistent and prominent brand personality, and not just on social media, but across all channels?
Thank you, Baisakhi, and good afternoon all. Hi, Krishna again. So just a lead up to what I think Krishna alluded to, I think being consistent with the messaging on the brand purpose and values will go a long way to actually drive that. I think demonstrating and activating those values and traits to in the real world, because everybody talks about being the brand purpose and being authentic, but till the time you don't actually demonstrate it to the consumers in the real world, I don't think so that will cut. So basically, again, if you are being more human and transparent with your consumers when we're talking, dealing with them, I think that will go a long way. By effectively being able to communicate in real time with consumers, you are able to actually let your brand voice be heard and also get feedback real time, which will definitely add value to the overall brand personality and brand building. Also, more or less, what we see these days is that self-serving post or conversations do not add any value per se to the overall brand personality or brand purpose in that sense. So brands should actually try to be more in terms of, while trying to generate conversations, try to add more value to consumers' life and try to see how we are able to make meaningful connections in that sense. So I would want to say that 20% of your conversations typically, not only on social or wherever that you're trying to actually drive conversations online, should be towards your brand products and services, but 80% should be to drive value and understand consumers and try to actually listen to them. Hence, I think being consistent, being transparent, and being more human, I think will drive the purpose in that sense.
Great answer, Gopal. So following this, I would also like to know from you, brand personality becomes much more emphatic when it comes to aligning with consumer choices and preferences. So according to you, how do these two influence each other in today's world?
So again, interesting question. I think if you align brand personality with consumer choices and actively listen and respond to the consumers, I think it definitely gives a great push to the overall brand personality. So again, just an extension to the first question, I think by aligning your consumer choices and preferences, I think it helps brands not only to connect with their audiences, but also let audiences know what the company is seeking or stands for, and from a company value perspective. I believe, again, brands who connect with the audience on a regular basis, listen to them, and people like that brands are actually listening to them, empathize with them, definitely have a better relationship with the consumers. And consumers also like to feel their voices are being heard, their opinion matter to the company, and hence they start valuing the overall brand and definitely drives more brand loyalty and gives meaning to brand consumer relationship in that sense. And if you are able to actually do this more and more, I think you will drive more brand loyalty and preference in that.
So on these lines, moving on to Krishna next, how do you propose brands to leverage social media to the maximum, especially in terms of targeting audiences who can be essential opinion makers? And also, I would like to know how Twitter is being the zeitgeist in this movement.
I think I'll sort of take both of these, together. Twitter is what's happening and what people are talking about. I think we are almost the undisputed home for breaking news, for real-time public conversation, whether it's across sports, music, entertainment, technology, or any seismic cultural shifts that might be happening all around the world, right? And I think as a company, we always make it our endeavor for users to find and follow the content that they care about, that they want to align with, that they're passionate about, and they want to listen to, right? Now, whether that is through products such as Topics or the recently launched Communities, or Twitter Spaces, which is our audio offering. The idea is to always keep expanding, right? Now taking a step back, historically, I think people assume that Twitter is centered around news and politics. Yet the fact is only 20% of our conversations for this year have been around news and politics. 80% is all about what people are passionate about, right? Which is gaming, lifestyle, television, movies, sports. So while users of other platforms are all about, look at me, Twitter is about, have you seen this? Did you hear about this? So they come to the platform, hungry for information and for connection to the world, to the people around them, and then together, sort of shape and make movements, memes, conversations that is then driving news and culture ahead, right? So you end up becoming almost like a zeitgeist of what's happening around the world because of how the platform has evolved and is actively working towards that. And coming back to your earlier point on, how do brands use social media to sort of take things to the next level? People come on Twitter, or users on Twitter are usually the first to try, buy, and share new products. Now, the reason I say this is because I think each platform is going to have its own uniqueness that they bring to the table, right? For us, it's, we almost call Twitter the world's largest focus group. 8 in 10 users consider themselves as, opinion leaders and are actually 41% more likely to suggest products that others will buy, right? And when people talk about your brand, the conversation drives impact. So we've also done a study on that, which says that there's a 10% increase, actually a 10% increase in conversation can actually give you a 3 to 4% increase in brand sales and revenue, right? And I'm sure each platform has its own value that they're doing over here. So I think, going back to what Gopa mentioned, going back to what I was saying earlier, I think each platform has to be tapped into for what its value add and what its superpower is. And then brands have to sort of figure out how their voice, their tone, and their consumers can be reached out to over there.
So, and once again, go back to Gopa now. So, conversations can lead to great commerce, and commerce, as we know, can grow when the brand expands. So, what would be your advice to brands for going omnichannel and operating at scale, given the current audience and the business dynamics around?
Great question. It's an interesting time that we are living in, specifically with regards to commerce growing and the pandemic situation that we are in. And each and every brand is actually trying to develop their omni-channel strategy. I think to have a successful omni-channel strategy, I think one important thing the brands need to actually look at is to understand their audience so that they can build better customer relationship as well as experience. I think not many people are actually giving thought to the experience while everybody is just getting into the bandwagon and trying to actually deliver or get onto the omni-channel of commerce story. But I think if you are able to actually spend time and effort on building both customer relationship as well as experience, I think that will go in a long way. You need to know who the customers are, where they are from, their goals, their challenges, the devices that they use most, what content actually they love or they don't despise, on which channel they spend most time, be it on social or wherever and online, and then start devising your strategy. I think that will actually go a long way for brands to be successful in the scheme of things and currently, as well as things move. When everything is moving online, commerce growing, I think this omni-channel approach and looking at customer from both experience as well as relationship point of view will drive good growth for brands at large. Also, I think all of these give good signals to shape your response in the real-time world also. So I think you should look at all of these 3 things to build or enhance your omni-channel strategy. Or brands should have.
Indeed, some practical suggestions you have shared. So this leads me to my next question, Krishna. As you all know that apart from growing the brand, it is also equally important to process and act on consumer feedback. So how should brands be open to embracing all kinds of feedback on social media platforms, and even talking about Twitter?
So thanks, Baishakhi. I think just to go to the earlier point that Gopa mentioned, I think I'm personally as a consumer, I think I love how omnichannel just comes together if a brand knows how to do it well. And I think it's spot on. It's all about experience, right? I mean, just talking about omnichannel is easy, but how does the consumer feel about it? I think is brilliant. So I love the point that Gopal made. Coming to what you asked me, Baishakhi, I think for brands, the first thing they have to do is listen, right? You've got to keep listening every single day. There are enough signals on Twitter, on other platforms that keep telling you what audiences are talking about, right? So you've got to keep listening, and you have to be open to understanding that it's not all about positive feedback. It's not all about just listening to what you want to listen to. I think if you give the respect to your audience, if you give that kind of respect to your users, that we are listening, we will comprehend, and then we will act on it in a way that's also helpful for you, but also in a way that it can help more users and more consumers that we have, right? Whether it's across the country, whether it's across the product line, across the service line, and so on and so forth, right? But I think on the flip side, we also don't live in a utopian world where every consumer can have his or her own experience, right? So I think somewhere you got to convert multiple experiences into commonalities and common channels that can then be expanded and scaled, right? Because you're essentially then creating a brand advocate in that customer. So if there's one happy customer, you're creating a brand advocate who's then going to go say that, let's say to 5 other potential users or customers, and essentially, use conversation as a way to take your brand ahead, take your brand sentiment forward. I think besides this, what I would also highlight is, that often CEOs, product managers, CXOs, product leaders look at Twitter as a cockpit or a tool for collecting and gathering information, which helps them then take strategic design decisions or give them a sense of, are we thinking in a way that our audience is thinking in, right? So if I have to kind of give an example, we've had scenarios where mobile phone companies or OEMs have sort of done a tease, where they run a campaign on the platform, whether it's organic or inorganic, right? They run a campaign on the platform just saying, hey, what's your next phone going to look like out of these 3 features, right? Is it camera, is it battery, or is it memory, right? And depending on what that feedback is, they tweak their marketing campaign to then go out and say, because if the majority of the responses talk about camera, or if, with the majority, depending on the segment of the phone, talk about battery, then they go out and say that they launch with the fact that, the biggest possible battery or the most power that you ever have in this segment sort of becomes their, king of the castle when it comes to conversation, and everything else then sort of follows that, right? So I think it's very important to understand how you use the feedback. I think feedback is great, whether it's positive or negative. It's about how you use it as a platform, as a brand, as a consumer, and then take things to a next level.
Some great suggestions. I'm sure that would be a good takeaway for our brands. And with that, I'll move on to my last question, which is for Gopal. So according to you, how should brands measure the effectiveness of the conversations and the ROI attached to it?
My favorite question, I think interesting on measurement. Basically, again, it's easy to get drowned on data and obviously look at all of these numbers. But there are three, four things which you can actually start measuring, both from effectiveness as well as driving ROI. One, obviously, is the easiest one, which is the volume. How much volume of conversations are you trying to drive, and what the measure is simply. Then second is obviously the reach. The reach measures the overall social media conversation, the spread of social media conversations, as I said. But you have to look at it from that context in terms of saying, okay, now these days, let's say if an influencer has 1 million followers and they have posted a video or a content related to a brand. Obviously, everybody knows that the organic reach currently in most of platforms is 0. So you should not start looking at that if an influencer has 1 million followers, it will reach out to 1 million of their followers actually. In that sense, so you start measuring as vital. So if you start measuring something as vital as reach, prioritizing just on follower count will definitely not help, basically. So it starts skewing your measurement anyhow. So just put a context to it is what I think I will definitely say, and obviously the objective for which you have actually started off any activity or a campaign. So one, obviously reach and volume I talked about. The third thing is engagement. Definitely the most important part of whatever that we try to do on social. Basically in terms of what and why, if you are able to actually map that, I think that's definitely one of the variables that one should be mapping. And last and most important is the share of voice. How you're able to actually look at the conversations and seeing how you're able to actually build this in terms of what audiences are wanting, what they're consuming, and the sentiments that they're actually driving from particular piece of content or campaign that you're trying to actually drive. If you're able to do that, and whether your target audience is enjoying, receptive to it, or not liking it, if you're able to measure that, I think will go a long way in driving or measuring the effectiveness of your conversation. That's it. So for me, volume, reach, engagement, and share of voice. You need to map.
Thank you, Gopa, and thank you, Krishna, for sharing some really wonderful and practical insights with us today. So we indeed learned a great deal on how brands can effectively build on conversations leveraging social media and how they can effectively listen to what consumers actually want. We also gained valuable advice on omnichannel brand presence and measuring effectiveness of conversations. So with that, thank you, gentlemen, once again for being with us today. And with that, we come to the end of today's Fireside Chat. Stay tuned for the next session. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for an engrossing and detailed session. Let's move ahead for the next session. Stay with us.